Hello, my name is Bethany, and I will be one of your teachers for the Saturday Young Artist Workshop. A few things about myself. I, for one, love art, and I'm very excited to begin this class with you. I love to bake. I also love playing with my dog. And yeah, that's a little bit about me. I'm excited to begin this class and to meet with you in the future on Zoom.
Hi, my name is Lacey. My pronouns are she, her. I will be one of the student instructors for Saturday Young Artist Workshop this semester. I used to be a zoology major, so I have a very deep passion of nature, especially animals, and that reflects in my artwork as well. So I do a lot of environmental artwork, which is why I'm very excited for this curriculum that we have lined up for you. Some of my art I'm going to show you. This is part of a book that I did, and it shows like how death is not in vain because you go back into the earth and you nurture living beings. And this is a print that I did recently. I really love whales, but I'm in unity with these like ginormous creatures, and we're sharing song, and that's kind of the dream, even though and then this is another print that I did. It's like you're holding up a bee, showing kind of like this nurturing and like protecting of pollinators, which I find really important. And then there's an abstraction of what's going on, and there's kind of like this idea of having organic shapes within us all correlate together, and we have unity between other living beings and ourselves. And then this is a watercolor that I did in high school. It's a jellyfish. You know, just really appreciating the texture and how interesting other creatures are is what I find really important as well. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what you guys come up with this semester. Environmental art is one of my biggest passions. So yeah, I will see you throughout the semester.
Hey everybody, my name's Cole. I'm one of your teachers for the Saturday Young Artist Workshop. I can't wait to get started and to talk to you guys and see what you guys have done. But for now, I'm just going to introduce myself. I'm a junior here at SYAW. I'm hoping to become a real art teacher soon, so I can't wait to get some experience working with you guys. I thought a good way for you guys to get to know me a little bit better is I'm going to show you some art that I've done in my free time. So this is a nice digital illustration, Ham the Space Chimp. Just for trying to challenge myself a little bit. I haven't really done a lot of digital illustrations. And then this is a watercolor of a sunflower. This is one of the first watercolors I've done. And this last thing is I did my senior year of high school. This is a scratch board of Jim Croce, my favorite music artist. And yeah, I can't wait to get started and to show you guys what we're going to be working on. And I can't wait to talk to you guys and see what you guys have done for us.
Hello everyone, I'm Katie, and I'm so excited to be one of your teachers for the Saturday Young Artist Workshop this fall. I just wanted to start off by telling you a little bit about me. So I have grown up with art my entire life. My mom was a sculptor when I was little, and she would melt glass into little glass beads, and she ran a blog for her art too. So she's definitely who I get my inspiration and my drive from. Another thing I wanted to share with you is that I am 100% an outdoors person. I love nature. And I think it's super awesome that all the lessons that we're going to be going through this fall are all centered around nature and how we as artists apply the natural world to our work. I'm so excited to get to know you all, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
it is time to begin our lesson. I hope you're just as excited as I am. I'm going to give you a brief introduction of our lesson. Don't worry if you don't catch everything, because we will be going in detail into these steps later. So, over the next few weeks, we are going to learn how we as human beings and artists respond to nature. In this lesson specifically, we'll be closely observing objects that we find in nature and learning how these objects will impact our own art. First, you'll be going outside to collect objects that you find in nature. Next, you will create a sketch or doodle out of each object and look at the texture present in each. Finally, you will conclude with creating a Zentangle out of the first letter of your name with the textures that you observe. The process of creating a Zentangle can be very calming and a relaxing process, so I hope that you'll take what you've learned and that you will use this information anytime in the future if you're stressed or overwhelmed, that you'll use what you've learned. When we meet in Saturday for our Zoom meeting, you're going to share your work with us, and we're going to see if we can identify the natural objects and textures that your Zentangle was abstracted from.
Hi, it's Lacey again. So I'm going to show you how to do the found object doodle part of this assignment. So first things first, go outside, find an object that you find is interesting. This is an Osage orange. Do whatever you want though. You're gonna have to find 5 objects if you want to do it all at once. And then think about what it looks like to you and how you can incorporate it into a composition. So for this object, I thought about it. I thought it looked like a head of an octopus, so that's what the drawing is going to be based off of. So I will get back in a few minutes and explain the drawing. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I made the object fit into the composition. It like fits the head. And then I added some wrinkly bits because octopi are super wrinkly and that texture is very similar to that. And you can spend as much time on these as you want to. Try to fill up your entire week. If you get finished earlier, we have a different project for you to do as well along with the other 2, which is essentially just drawing these objects in depth. But you're gonna do this idea 5 times. You're gonna find 5 different objects and do a drawing for each of them. And you can use any medium you want. I chose ink for this because octopi and ink go together, and I had some extra. But you can use a pen or a pencil or anything you want, and there's a big variety in our teaching samples, so you can use that as inspiration if you want. But yeah, we look forward to seeing what you come up with. For my found object doodles, I have this chicken because I thought the little sticks for the legs that I did, they looked like little talons at the bottom, and they had leaves on them, but I ripped them off, and yeah. And then I have this deer because I thought the sticks also looked like little hooves and they could be antlers. And then we have this little acorn guy. It looks like he's wearing a hat because it's an acorn. And then he has an angle, the way you lay it on the paper, it turns his head downward. So I have him looking at some ducks and interacting with them. And then there's this girl, she has very puffy hair like I do, so I used a hydrangea dry flowers for that. And then lastly, I have this owl that I did with the magnolia seed pod. I thought the magnolia seed pod looked like little feathers. It had a feathery look to it, and the shape was very close to an owl's stomach, so I added that to provide texture and whatnot. So that's all I have. So we're gonna move on.
Hello, so I want to share my object doodles with you. The first one I did was a sunflower, and I think the gumball that I used fit the texture well of the middle of a sunflower and was the right shape, so that's why I chose that. The second one I did was a guitar, and I used grass for the strings. And then my next two, I used leaves for both of them, and for some reason the first one I thought looked like the body of a fish, so that's kind of where I went with that one. And then the next one, I thought the leaves reminded me of rabbit ears, and so I drew a rabbit body around it. And then for my last doodle, I chose to do a car, and I did this because since I had two flowers, they were kind of the same size, and they were both circular, I thought they would work well as the wheels. And so that's where I went with the doodles that I did for this project.
Hi guys, it's Katie again. I just wanted to share with you my object doodles. So for this one, I grabbed a twig from outside and I thought that I could use it as the body of a butterfly. So that's what I did. I added some butterfly wings. My next one is where I grabbed some pine needles from under a pine tree, and I thought that I could make this into a campfire. So I added some logs on there and I put the pine needles on top. My next one is some weeds from the grass. I thought that I could turn these into some olden day fans, and I put a king's chair in the middle. I thought this one was really creative. My next one is some gumballs. I thought the gumballs would work perfectly for the wheels of the school bus. This one was really fun to do. My last one is a leaf that I found on the ground. This was a crunchy leaf, so I couldn't just set it on my paper. I did actually have to tape it. But so this little guy in this picture, he's flying a kite and the kite is the leaf. I cannot wait to see what you guys come up with. Hi guys, so right now I'm going to be showing you how to create your Zentangle. So what you're going to need is some writing utensils. I just have a pencil and a pen because I think that I'm going to do it in pencil first and then go over with pen to give it a cleaner look. But that is up to you what you want to write with or draw with. And then you're going to need some paper, up to you what kind of paper you want to use. And then you're going to need some items from nature. So what we're going to do with these is we're going to look at them, we're going to analyze these textures, and apply it to our Zentangle. So here I have some tree bark, a gumball, a twig, pine cone, 2 different types of leaves, and some pine needles. So right here, I am just making my K. I decided to use a ruler just to give it a cleaner look, but that's up to you. Here I am drawing my tree bark. I am looking right at my tree bark. I'm modeling my lines off of my tree bark. You just really want to make sure that you're looking closely at your object before you do it, and then modeling it after your object. Right here, I'm doing the same thing that I did for my tree bark. I am analyzing the texture and I'm looking at it. I'm paying close attention to it before I do it, and then I draw it. So at this point, I was finished with my Zentangle and pencil, so I decided to go over it with pen to make it darker. So this is what my finished Zentangle project looked like. I hope that you all have as much fun creating yours as I did mine. So you guys are going to want to hang on to your Zentangle because we are going to be looking at it and sharing them during our first Zoom meeting. During our first Zoom meeting, we will try to identify the textures that we were all working with.
So I'm going to be showing you how to do the Zentangle part of this project. The big idea of this entire lesson is to basically observe objects found in nature. So for this, you're going to need an object found in nature or multiple ones if you want. I chose this feather. I'm just going to do one for simple purposes. You need paper, and you also need a writing utensil of some kind. You can do whatever you want. I like to use pen because it helps you like create problems for yourself and you can problem solve through it, but use whatever you want. And Zentangle is basically like you're creating patterns and textures to create a design basically, and we're going to be using the object to inspire those designs. So I'm going to do a speed frame so you can watch along in my process for mine, but we're also going to show you some teaching samples that the other instructors did. So yeah, feel free to skip ahead if you're confident in it, but I'll be here and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, so I'm back. This is a very simple version of it. And if you look at the other teaching samples that the other instructors did, they went more into it, but this is a simple idea of Zentangle. So as you can see, I used different textures from the feather. For this part, it's more based on this like simple area, and this is like based on the tiny downy feathers. These are full feathers, and you look at the outline of the feather and replicate them over and over again. This is like that wave pattern that is in the little tiny feather parts. And then this is repeated downy feathers again, and then the whole shapes again, and then the whole feathers, and then the wavy again. But this project's pretty open, so do what you want with it pretty much. You can do any font that you want as well. I just traced this, and the shape is kind of based on the shape of the feather, how it's like rounded at the edge, but feel free to do whatever you want. This project should be fun and relaxing, so don't stress out about it too much. But yeah, happy watching. We look forward to seeing what you come up with. Bye.
Alright, so this is my Zentangle that I created based off of the first letter of my name, so I did a B for Bethany. If you see here at the top, well, and throughout, I really looked hard at the objects to see the details close up. So one of my objects I used was a gumball, and so here at the top, I tried to really create that sharp, jagged texture that I saw. This one was also the gumball. If you look really close, there was this fine, almost like circular texture that I tried to capture there. I also used a flower for one of my objects, so I tried to incorporate this like fuzzy texture which was found in the center of the flower. And then petals, I tried to capture the texture of the petals. And then I also used leaves for one of my found objects. So you can see kind of this rough texture that I seen in one of my leaves. And what's interesting is that I had two different leaves for my project, and both leaves look very different. So if you look at this texture compared to this, they both look very different, but they were both textures from leaves. So when you look at objects and you look at them very closely, you'll notice that you find differences that you may not have noticed had you not taken the time to observe them. So I'm pretty happy with how mine turned out, and I'm excited to see how yours looks as well.
Okay, so I'm going to show you guys some things that I've done for this project just to give you a better idea of what you can do. So the first thing you need to do is go outside and gather 5+ objects from nature. These are all things that I just found in my front yard that I thought looked pretty cool. So here's just some sketches that I did. This is a piece of bark along with some clovers. I just did these to practice. And then while you're doing this, you should be considering the textures and how you can incorporate them into your Zentangle letter. So this is a nice pine cone. This is a leaf, so basically the way I did that was I put the leaf under the paper and I shaded over it, and that will give you the details of the leaf. They'll go through the paper, they'll show up a little bit darker, and that basically just gave me a little template to use when sketching out other leaves. This is a wasp's nest that I found that fortunately didn't have any wasps in it. And I just tried to sketch that out and play around with it with these two different angles. And then this is my letter that I did. My name starts with a C. And you can see how I incorporated everything that I had, or that I found outside. So I have some clovers up here, and then the leaves up here, and then I have the piece of bark coming down the back side of my letter. And then I have my wasp nest that I thought I had at a good angle, and I liked the composition of it. And then 2 pine cones right here that I'm really proud of, and then just some more clovers. The way that I would say this connects to me, or how I connect to nature myself, was, these are all things I found at home. These are some things that really remind me of where I live, and when I look at it, I just feel comfortable and cozy. And this was really relaxing to do. I really like texture studies, and I think you'll have a good time too. You don't have to do it like I did. There's going to be some other examples like Bethany's, where it's more close up and more abstract. That's perfectly fine. This is just something that I thought would be nice, and yeah, I can't wait to see how yours turn out.
Alright, so now that you're done with this project, I want you to make sure that you keep your Zentangle in a safe place until our Zoom meeting Saturday, October 17th. We're going to be sharing the Zentangles, so bring it with you, and we're going to look at each other's and see if we can identify the textures that you use to create your Zentangle. Before we end this session, I want you guys to think about a few questions. First, what did you discover when you closely observed nature? Next, how do we as human beings and artists respond to nature?